Hello from beautiful sunny Spring Lake. It is January the 7th, 2012, but you would never know it. It is in the low 60s, a little bit of a breeze, absolutely delightful day. And we're outside with the Norwegian straight bench double wheel. And this is an interesting piece. It has the straight double bench, split bench, I've heard it called, where you have the solid lower bench and then the upper bench is a half bench with two screw rods that go back to the uprights. But this one is a little different in that it has a double drive wheel, and we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that. This really is an absolutely beautiful wheel. I was very happy to add this one to the collection. It has some absolutely beautiful woodworking on it. First of all, you have these beautiful tall maidens like spires here. You have a wood screw down here. Looks a little like a Viking helmet, doesn't it? The horns on it. This screw is not for tensioning. What this does is actually allows you to move the drive band in position with the wheel. You can actually move this whole mother of all back and forth by loosening this wood screw. She does have a few cracks, unfortunately, and we'll talk about the one main one. She's also very interesting. She has a lot of little carved doodads. This is just a little wood peg that's in here. Would make a lovely orifice hook. I may have to convert her. There's a hole here for her distaff. Unfortunately, she did not come with distaff. She has her screw tensioning. And if you'll notice, there is a goodly sized crack that runs back along her bench here. And then when you get back to her tensioning bar that goes back into the upright, unfortunately the screw is actually completely cracked at this point and broken off. So I have discovered when you pick this wheel up, you tend to pick it up by the front and this bar, and I have a feeling that either she took some sort of a shot with another piece of furniture here and it cracked it all the way back, or somebody picked her up and snapped that. So that's a bit of an unfortunate break. Some more little carved doodads here that serve absolutely no purpose other than they're very pretty, and I thought that's a nice little touch of craftsmanship. Another nice little touch, I have the yarn wind off on it. There's a little wooden key here. And what's interesting with this little wooden key is when you turn this, that's how you turn this front maiden to adjust it to when you're ready to remove the flyer. And I had never seen anybody go to all the trouble to make a screw-turned key there. I thought that was a nice touch. She has some little round plaque. These are a little loose. These actually were like separate pieces that were carved and were dropped into her bench in the front and back, again just for the beauty of it. She has a very pretty treadle shape, and it is worn. You can feel the foot of some long ago spinner on there. The treadle bar is carved, matches the rest of her carvings. She has a built-in lazy gate, which is another nice feature, and somehow she went through the years without losing her bobbins, so there's two extra bobbins with her. And another nice feature I never saw before, once again, somebody went to all the trouble to turn a wood screw on these pegs. Now if I were to pull that out, there's a whole shaft that goes and holds the bobbin in. And, I'm sure the reason why she still has extra bobbins after all this time. Another nice thing, And I always like with these Norwegian wheels how they figure out ways to hide your wheel axle. She has another carved key here. And I tell you, whoever did this really had a good tap and die set, or knew how to route out screws, because this has more wood screws in it than I ever saw on a wheel. You unscrew that peg. Look at this. We put him down on the ground to show that. That is just a nice little piece of carving, that peg. That is just as pretty as could be. And what that does, how that holds the wheel axle in, there's a little piece that comes out. And then there's your wheel axle. So you would put that back in, sort of like a shell. And screw it in. Isn't that clever? Who thought of that? That's a great piece. So let's walk around to her other side. And this is a relatively new crack. This is this happened since I've had her. It is a fresh crack. She was not hit. It's just purely the expansion and contraction of her wood. We're very close to the ocean. It's very humid here. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do with her finish yet, so it's entirely possible we'll just refinish her and cover that up. Now we come around to her backside here, and again she has the same screw down clamp feature on the axle. Her footman is carved. Let me try to turn that so it gets a better shot. You can see the carving on her footman. She has a nice little steel wheel axle crank. Oh, and the footman, by the way, is carved all the way down. This is the footman here, and it's carved all the way to the end. So somebody took a lot of pains with this wheel. It just has exquisite craftsmanship. And then we have the additional wheel, the drive wheel, the double wheel, which is a very, very solid steel rim with 6 hand-hammered tabs that are just screwed in with straight-headed screws. And they're just welded into that rim. And that gives her some extra momentum when I spin. And take a look at her flyer before we spin on her. She's got her nice little uprights. And see, she's already got some yarn spun on her. Okay, we are back. We are set up to spin. I am going to be doing this in 2 shots because I want to show how the drive wheel turns and I want to show how the flyer turns. The first thing I'm going to do is come in a little bit closer on the flyer. Let's take a look how this flyer goes. just a nice, smooth spinning wheel. Hope you get a good view of how that wheel moves. It is just as smooth and as pleasant a wheel to spin on as any modern one I've had. Prefer over some of the CPWs, actually. I know all the Canadian production wheel people go nuts about that, but it just has nice, smooth, sturdy momentum. I'm almost thinking, because of the position of the bobbin and whorl to the wheel, you get the drive band going directly, evenly in front of it. It does spin very much like a parlor wheel with the flyer underneath spins, and you're going to get the same amount of drive band above and below the whorl as you do on a parlor wheel. You know, I don't know anything about physics, but it definitely seems to make a difference. A little traffic there. We live on the street with the recycling center, so everybody's making a last rush to drop off their recyclables. Anyway, that's the Norwegian split bench wheel. Now, some people wanted to see how well she spun. She really is a beautiful wheel, beautiful looking wheel, and a beautiful spinning wheel, and very happy to add her to the collection.